Hello friends, welcome back to Student Blog. Uh, this is my 20th video for VM Horizon, and we'll be continuing about a endpoint manager, dynamic environment manager. So I'll be calling DEM instead of dynamic environment manager. So as we already discussed previously, it was called as VMware user environment manager. So until version 9.9 it was so called user environment manager. So we'll be discussing a little bit about some benefits, what are the benefits and what are the features, all discuss, and then we'll go to lab. So DEM, it delivers personalization and you already know, centrally managed group managed policy configurations across virtual, physical and cloud based Windows desktop environments. So IT administrators control which settings users are allowed to personalize, and administrators can map environmental settings such as network device and location specific printers. So user specific Windows desktop and application settings can be applied in the context of client device location or other conditions. So policies are enforced when users log in, sorry launch an app, reconnect, or when some other triggering event occurs. So dynamic environment manager also has a feature for configuring folder redirection for storing personal user data, including documents, pictures and so on. So these are all we have overviewed little bit about these things in our previous video, and what are the benefits of using dynamic endpoint manager. So like we have a few benefits like centralized and simplified management of Windows environments. So administrators can configure settings and conditions in the management console, and the dynamic environment manager agent on virtual disks and RDS servers can read and apply the settings. A single instance of the management console can manage multiple dynamic environment manager environments. So second one is a dynamic and contextual policy management. So admins can specify the conditions under which an end user get certain features, such as the ability to disable saving files to USB device, right, security team in every organization will be there which will ask you to do this. So when outside the corporate network or other security related features, admin can also configure triggering tasks to determine when to check for certain conditions such as long login time. So next is a consistent user experience across devices and locations. End users can roam between disparate devices while preserving custom application settings and Windows personalization settings. On logon, DEM reads the user's profiles and can display the desktop background or application settings that the user saved during the last login, regardless of whether the actual endpoint device was a desktop computer or workstation or even iPad at home. So next is improved login. So improved login time. So Windows login time directly impacts the end user experience, whether managing physical or virtual PCs, VDI or published applications. IT consistently struggles to find a balance between customizing the Windows environment and adding time to the user login process. So if you see like couple of times, if you didn't properly configure, user will take a lot of time to log into the VDI. So tasks such as mapping printers, drive letters and applying policies to manage applications often occur during the login process. So DM can remove most of the overhead by carrying out these tasks dynamically and if when they are needed. So this is one of the advantage of improved login times. So the next is providing desktops just in time. So as enterprise goes down the path of VDI, a common question is whether to provide persistent or non-persistent desktops. Though end user enjoy the flexibility to customize their own personal persistent VM, IT often prefers the streamlined management of non-persistent VMs. So DM is a key component of personalized just-in-time desktop. So there are some advantages, and maybe you may think that why I'm saying all these things. So generally, when you go for interview, they may ask you what are the advantages. So obviously, I think that may help you out. And couple of I in between, I just cover the few interview questions also where in between my videos, and I will be discussing. Just make sure to point out so that they will be helpful for you. So next is like this is the architectural diagram and components like Active Directory, Dynamic Environment Manager, Management Console. These are all we discussed yesterday, but still we'll give an overview about these. So I just discussed little bit about these, but somehow I collected more data so that you can have a in-depth knowledge on this. So Active Directory GPO, like you can create a GPO to each Active Directory organizational unit, nothing but OU you can want to manage. The OU typically contains the computer objects or virtual machines. You can then edit the GPU and apply DEM settings from administrative templates included in the installation package. So when you download the installation package, along with that, a couple of GPU templates were given. So I will show you while installation. So you can add the templates to the GPU, and where the it will be very easier for you to configure DEM. So the next one is Dynamic Environment Manager Management Console. uh, uh, DM Administrative UI. This is used to uh, used as a UI to configure application settings, Windows environment settings, conditions under which the settings go into the effect, and various other configuration settings. You can also configure Horizon smart policies for things like printers, printer mappings, attaching devices to the virtual desktop or application, and the ability to copy and paste text. So next is application profiler. So for the few applications for which you cannot find any already created application templates, you can use this standalone application that analyze where the application stores its files and registry configuration, and also set the initial configuration state of the application. So this is the advantage of application profiler. So next is central configuration share. So you can create this file share to store the management console configuration and dynamic environment manager configuration files. DM agent, that is flex engine on virtual desktops and RDSH servers, reads the configuration files on the share and and applies the settings specified in the configuration file. So while the next step, like what we'll be doing is like for this DM we need two shared folders which we will be install like configuring with required permissions, and then we'll proceed for installation. So where you can know about these, and network folder per user is the next one. In this shared file share that you create, each folder or profile archive contains zip files where the DEM agent, that is Flex Engine, stores the personalized settings of the user. For each DEM environment manager Flex configuration file that you create, Flex Engine creates a profile archive for each user. So when you create a folder for users profiles, for each profile, like a archive folder, a archive folder will be created where user, yeah, user data is archived in that one. So whenever you log off, a profile archive profile archive will be created for each user. So help desk support. This tool provides capabilities to support and maintain DEM profile archives and profile archive backups. So next is self support tool. So with this tool, end users can restore application settings from a backup, or reset the settings to their defaults. So next is clients with a dynamic environment manager. So the agent software Flex Engine runs on each virtual desktop or RDSH server whose applications are to be managed. This agent reads the centralized configuration file place dynamic environment manager settings and save those user settings that end user are allowed to control. So in this client server architecture, the Flex Engine agent software plays the client role and the dynamic environment manager Flex configuration file plays the server role. So the last but not the least is offline sync tool. So laptop users who are not always connected to the corporate network need access to their dynamic and environment manager configuration file while offline. Sync tool makes all VMware dynamic environment manager configuration files available locally and syncs like synchronizes changes when user connects to the corporate network. Additionally, user with a slow WAN configuration can also use local DEM manager configuration files, thus limiting network traffic and like avoiding continuously roaming profile settings. So these are the few components which we discussed, and let's let's go for like installation process. For before that, before installing DEM client as well as the DEM manager console, what we'll do is like as we discussed, we'll create two folders and we'll give the permissions to that. So first thing is like we'll create a folder for with a name that is DEM config. Whatever you want you can mention there, it's up to you. And what we'll do is like we'll go to properties, then we'll share it. So then advanced settings, go to permissions, everyone will make it change and read. Okay, and we'll go to security and go to advanced, click on add, select principal. So here we will give a full access, so that is for our domain admins, like any group which require full access, or even video admins which will give full control. Okay, and click OK. We'll add one more, select principal. Here let me check my DC. So we have end users is a group. So for them, what we'll do is like we'll give read and execute. If you click the advanced, you will give you will be able to see all, but I will leave it default. So just remember to give read and execute permissions. Read, okay, that's fine, and we'll give this folder only, then click OK. So this is done. So next we need to create one more folder for user profiles. So what I will do is create one more folder, or you can keep as DM. Yeah, we'll keep user profiles to be short. So we'll go to the folder, then properties. We'll go to first we'll share it, then advanced, everyone change, read. Okay, security, advanced, add, select principal. So here we'll give domain admins full access. Select end users and give read, execute, and list for content. Everything will set as it is. And then click OK. And we can also use authenticated users. So to configure computer based settings, click add and select principal again, and instead of entering the each computer name, just add the authenticated users. Click OK. OK, and we'll do the same for this also. So this is done. So we have created one for configuration to store the configuration files, and one is to to save the user profiles. Like whenever a user log into the VDI, what happens is when we install the uh, DEM client on the RDS server or any VDI, what have when he logs in, all the user documents, everything will be saved here with user login ID, and once he log off, all the data will be saved here, and whenever he logins to another VDI, same profile will be connected, and the data whatever the user is trying to user saved on the previous login, it will be available, though different VDI, the same data will be able on his desktop, as well as his documents, his Chrome settings, everything whatever installed, everything will be available here. So as discussed in the theory, archive data will be available here. So we'll be looking at this in the next video. So this is the two things we need to configure, two folders we need to configure, and in my next video I will show you how to install client on VM Horizon VDI. So thanks for watching, And for any suggestions, queries, please reach out to me on vstudentblog@gmail.com. Please do subscribe and like my videos. Thank you. Bye bye.